Welcome to another edition of Torah for Our Times. This week the world has been consumed with one overwhelming story. The story of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Not in recent memory has the world been so consumed with a story of tension and strife within the royal family. So widely discussed that it's within the top 5 headlines across media outlets around the world. The by now infamous Oprah Winfrey interview has been seen by millions and millions of people. And there's countless discussions and analysis to understand what happened. Is she a victim? Do we believe her? Was her mental health really not dealt with correctly? How has their interview brought the royal family into disrepute, into such controversy? And the lists go on and on and on. I'd like to just take a step back today and deal with this with 2 approaches in a Jewish viewpoint, so to speak. You know, on the side of the critics, I feel that the criticisms of the royal couple seem to be unending, almost relentless. We live in a world where ruthless, negative criticisms really reign supreme. And whether it's right or whether it's wrong, sadly, it sometimes extends to individuals in our own private lives as well. And we're often so quick to criticize people we don't even know, let alone people that we do know. My question is, why do we do this? Whether it's in the political arena, the royal family, celebrities, relationships, why are we so sure that we actually understand the lives of other people? Why are we sometimes so convinced that people are wrong? Do we have compassion? And we turn the focus a little bit. Are our own lives that perfect? Are they that consistent? Do we not recognize that sometimes we make decisions too quickly? We possibly speak without thinking, or we act without processing a thought, maybe being insensitive when we could have dug deeper and become more sensitive instead of being insensitive. So why don't we extend that consideration to others as well? The Talmud says, Torah posel b'mumo posel, that the things that bother us in others are really things that bother us in ourselves. You know, Emuna Braverman pointed out that in 2021, we live in a world of customer reviews. Whether it's online reality shows, from the X Factor to Britain's Got Talent, to The Voice, to America's Got Talent, maybe we've just become hardened to pain and criticism, or when one is embarrassed or even humiliated. So we say, you know what, they went on the show, so, you know, they asked for it by going public. And we rationalize. But the issue is that so many are quick to judge, to criticize, to be unforgiving. And if the lens was turned on us, we may discover that we do indeed have some flaws and maybe some things which are not right, and it's hurtful when they're aired publicly. She mentions that there's actually a group in Israel who meet regularly to draw up a list of reasons to judge someone favorably, so that when the time comes and they're in a situation where they're tempted not to do so, they can turn to their list and rise to the challenge. What an amazing idea. Imagine if we all had lists of reasons to be compassionate towards other people, with reasons to treat them with understanding and not disdain and not anger, to look for the positive in every human being. That's my first point. The second point is the publicity of all of this. I googled it this week that their names are in the top 10 of the most searched Google web searches in the last few days. And whatever the motivation, it's a clear pathway, it's a public way of achieving a name, whether that's good or that's bad. In Judaism, we make names for ourselves as well. Rabbi Efren Goldberg, a couple of weeks ago, told a story which moved me deeply. In December of 2018, Yeshua Tzvi Hershkovitz passed away at the age of 92. If you've never heard of this man, that's because that's how he wanted it. Mr. Hershkovitz was born in 1925 in Hungary, and after the German occupation in 1944, he was sent to Dachau and spent the next 3 years surviving there on minimal rations. After liberation, he came to America. He settled in a place called Borough Park. In 1975, he was aware that one of his neighbors was struggling to put food on the table. So he decides to send parcels to those who are in need. And this humble beginning went on to build an organization for people that needed food for Shabbat, to distribute then 600 families in Borough Park. The name began to spread and he coined his organization Tomchei Shabbos, the supporter of Shabbat. And it exists all over the world, from America to Canada to Israel to London to Belgium. Tens of thousands of families have food to eat every week on Shabbat because of the vision and the hard work of a survivor who earned a living working in the post office in Brooklyn, but earned eternity by caring enough to think about the struggling people around him. His branch grew to a point where it deployed a fleet of 16 different trucks to deliver food packages every single week. He raised millions of dollars to fund his organization, and he was never in the limelight, took no pay for his work, had no public recognition. In fact, he refused it, and he always retorted with the words, "I'm sorry, I don't need this. I'm just a plain Jew." Today, we think that going viral adds value to who we are. The greater the name recognition, the greater the person, the more friends and followers on Facebook and social media and Instagram, the more of a difference we're making. But a name is not how we are known. It's how we refer to by others. And we exist even before we have a name. Our core, which is our neshama, is far greater than the name by which we are called. The neshama its soul has its own unique character, its own personality, its own mission for which it's created. The real you is the person with no interference from others, no need to be identified or be acknowledged by other people. Mark Twain famously said the two most important days of your life are the day you are born and the day that you find out why. We all have a purpose, we all have skills that can make a difference. It's not about simply having a better car or a better house. Our job is to make a difference in the world. It's not about going viral. But that our essence makes the difference that it was meant to make in this world. So yes, Meghan and Harry are names now known worldwide. And I hope and pray that there's a peaceful resolution to be found to be able to move forward positively. But as Jews, it's often those whose names are not known that have the most eternal impact on our world. Shabbat Shalom.